you see my screen? I'm not sure. My screen is not visible. Just give me a sec. I cannot see anything.
I can see it, Janvi. It's visible.
Okay, can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to the complimentary first session of the 21-day Holistic Nutrition and Health Certificate course by Dr. Gauri Rokkam. I am Janvi from Team Wellcure, along with a few teammates of mine who are going to be there throughout the session to assist you all. Before we begin, let me quickly introduce Wellcure. So Wellcure is a digital natural healing platform where we regularly host events and workshops related to natural living and natural healing, following the principles of nature cure and living a sustainable lifestyle, which is healthy and also close to nature. All the updates are available on our mobile application that you can download from Play Store and App Store, and also our website www.wellcure.com. Moving along, like we mentioned, this is the first live session out of the 10 live sessions under the certificate course. In the past 16 batches, we have had over 400 participants from across the globe with different professional backgrounds, including MBBS doctors, nutritionists, fitness and yoga instructors, health enthusiasts, and even homemakers, and a lot more. Every one of them had their own motivation of joining this course. Some wanted to boost and scale up their nutrition career. Some wanted to live a medicine-free lifestyle, or others just wanted to cure various diseases that they were suffering from. But no matter what their motivation had been, we have witnessed this course changing the lives of people and how they perceive food and nutrition. And I'm sure the video that we shared in the beginning of this session gave you an idea of how this course has transformed and impacted the life of hundreds of people. And now, without any further ado, let me welcome Dr. Gauri to the stage, who is a renowned holistic nutritionist. She has over 30 years of experience in holistic nutrition, and she has designed this course with such beauty and such delicacy that it fits perfectly in the life of everyone, whether you have a nutrition background or you do not. And we say this time and again that this course is the perfect blend of Western medical nutrition and Eastern yogic philosophies. And this is it from my side. This is going to be a 1.5 hour jam-packed lecture. We will be taking Q&A towards the end, and we will also open the Zoom chat section then. And with this, over to you, Dr. Gauri. Thank you, everyone, and please enjoy the session.
Thank you, Janvi. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, Dr. Gauri.
Thank you. Right. My respectful pranams to each one of you who have joined us. And on behalf of myself and Wellcure, I extend a warm welcome to each of you who have joined us from across the globe. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Wellcure founders, Wellcure platform, and their wonderful team for hosting my course very often, and I'm grateful.
Dr. Gauri,
Yeah.
before we begin, can you please once again recheck the annotation settings?
Yeah. It is disabled.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Yes. I believe in blending spirituality and science. As the well-known, the greatest of the poets and the playwright Kalidasa said, we cannot dismiss everything ancient as old and accept everything new as science. We have to pick up the right things from both And that's exactly what I've done in this course. I've picked up the Eastern wisdom of nature cure philosophy of food and yogic philosophy of food and blended it with the nutrition science. And I find it more meaningful and complete. This becomes holistic. And that's why I call myself a holistic nutritionist. When I look back, I feel I could shun all the reductionist theories and make my work more holistic because of my father. My father is a yoga exponent and a naturopath, besides being a biochemistry professor. So I grew up with all of this happening all around me. And that was what created a firm foundation to my work later in life. I was amazed day in and day out when people came and reported to him how they can heal everything they're going through with simple changes of food and lifestyle. And that is why I was able to say no to the complete Western philosophy of modern medical nutrition and pick up the right things, essence from there, and blend it into our philosophy. Well, I had to do that 13 years of formal education to understand what is right, what is wrong, and 25 odd years of interacting with clients and helping them reverse their diseases and disorders. Through these 30 years, I can tell you, I have had a lot of learning and much more of unlearnings. And I've put in all of these and designed this course so that nobody else need to do this 25 years of learning for simple understanding of food. And I've put in into 25 hours of learning so that everybody from whatever background can understand and enjoy health. Coming to the course itself, let me just take a few minutes, maybe 5-7 minutes, to walk you through briefly to what will be taught in this course. And as Janavi rightly said, you're in the first session of this 3 weeks course. If you're thinking that you'll understand and learn something extraordinary which nobody else knows, I'm sorry, it's an emphatic no. I've put in together the basic principles, facts, concepts from these 3 philosophies of nature cure, yogic philosophy, and modern medical nutrition, so that it becomes easy to understand and also becomes meaningful for us to adopt. And I have made the nutrition science so simple. It's a complex subject, which I said I have learned for 13 long years. I've made it so simple so that anybody from any background, whether you've learned science or not, doesn't matter at all. Anybody can understand. I've made it so simple so that you can digest, assimilate, and appreciate it properly. And everything I speak has a evidence. When I say evidence, it becomes essential because we are all rational beings. Unless I have an evidence, I will not be able to put my full faith and belief on it can work, it does work, it is time tested or research tested. So I add in evidence either from the research background, scientific research, or from our spiritual texts, so that this blending can make it easy to understand. That does not mean that today we have an evidence, tomorrow it's going to change, because that's what we see in our experiences. Every day there is a different data coming out and confuses the common man. But what I'm going to share is the fundamentals which will never change with time and any amount of research coming out. And the uniqueness of this course, I would say, is the way, the as and when I go on sharing the concepts and the knowledge, we also look at how to adopt them into our lifestyle. See, today we have information and knowledge at our fingertips. Nobody has a dearth of information. The whole problem lies at adopting it into our lifestyle. And my job starts there. It begins there to help people adopt it into their lifestyles. So I have designed this course in such a way where every single day, whatever concepts I discuss, we adopt it immediately. And that's the beauty of the course. And at the end of 3 weeks, you will start seeing a new you in terms of probably energies, your health, your well-being, your weight, and the way you perceive life, and the diminishing of your medications, and much more. And I don't believe in the course and examination to give you a certificate. I believe in how much can you understand and adopt it into your lifestyle. Me, along with the Wellcure team, will have a huge eye on what and how you are adopting everything being discussed, and kind of having a conversation on the WhatsApp groups. And how you adopt is what is going to give you the certificate. Not what information you have in your head, but what knowledge you are able to adopt into your lifestyle is what gives you the certificate. So with that, let me tell you that the best of the learning, or a complete learning, happens when we understand the knowledge and then kind of intellectually understand and get an inference out of it. And the most important is practice. This is what is said in our scriptures. When does the learning become complete? When Agama, Anumana, and Abhyasa, all three happen together parallelly, is when learning becomes complete and meaningful. This can help people from different professions. It could be as simple as somebody who's looking at their own health, reversal of diseases, or their loved ones, or anybody who belongs to the health space. It could be doctors from different areas, and it could be nurse, it could be health professionals, it could be gym trainers, yoga therapists, physiotherapists, nutritionists. Anybody can benefit from this course because it can add value to already what you're doing great work. In any of these areas, when it comes to health, you're already doing a lot of work. And when you add a shift or a change in eating and living, you can bring in a huge added value to your profession. And that is what and how this course is designed. The whole idea at the end of these 3 weeks is to get rid of the 3 Ds: doctors, dietitians, and drugs. I have nothing against any of these. All I mean is you should get empowered to take care of your health and become healthy so that we don't need the services of doctors, dietitians, and druggists. And most of what you see on this slide, I'm going to deal with in this today's session itself. Of course, when it comes to the 5 natural elements, I might be able to touch upon the first element, which is ether. The rest of it, maybe I'll deal with it in the coming couple of sessions. Most of the time, we don't seem to understand how this body works. This is such a magnificent machine which we are gifted with, and we have no clue how it works. Any machine you buy, from the smallest to the biggest, you do a lot of research. You ask so many people who have already bought it. You take test rides. You go and have a look at it. You read everything in the manual from A to Z, understand how it works, how to take care of it, what is the fuel for the machine, how to repair them, how to maintain them, all of it. And take pride in buying the best of the brands and paying the most. Because you understand everything, you take care of them, right from a blender in the kitchen to the cars, isn't it? And that is why they pay off. What are you doing? For something which changes on a daily basis, for something which can be replaced, for something which is temporary. But what do we do with our bodies, which cannot be replaced, which is a permanent for this lifetime? We have no clue of how this body works. We will never even by mistake put petrol into a diesel car and diesel into a petrol car. We are so intelligent, but we don't use that intelligence into this magnificent body. We can add anything we want as a fuel. We can do anything we want with this body and expect it to work. It doesn't. That's why the first part I dedicate to understanding the mechanisms inside this body in the most simple way, so that at the end of this chapter, we will be able to make the right choices. What should go into the body? What should not go into the body? So that this body works to the optimum. And when I say the body, when it comes to the scientific understanding, we understand only this physical body, which we can see, and probably the physiological aspects of this body. But our ancient people, thousands of years ago, spoke so much more about this body. They said, there is something called soul inside. And there is a separation between this body and the soul. And this body is made up of 5 layers. The Annamaya Kosha, which is the physical body. The Pranamaya Kosha, where we speak about the pranas. I'm going to deal with all these layers as we go ahead. And then comes the Manomaya Kosha, which is majorly the mind. And then comes the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the intellect. And then comes the Anandamaya Kosha, which is the bliss body. We need to take care of all these, not just the physical body. Many times we limit at the physical Annamaya Kosha, and that is why we are left with, I cannot cure myself completely. When we look at every layer and see what best can be done at every layer is when we can hit complete health. Next, going on to the food. Today, everything around us, especially the media and our ways of learning, has brought us to a state where we no more see food as food. We are taught to look at our plates as, oh God, I'm eating more carbohydrates. Oh, I have less proteins on my plate. I have to increase my proteins. We've come to this state. Very sad state of affairs. We count calories. Food never should be counted or broken down into its components. Both body and food are hugely complex, and they interact with each other and their own components and parts, and they work in synergy. So we should never break them down and look at body and body parts, that is its organ system separately. And so is true with the food. We should never break down the food into its components and increase or decrease something. That is my job as a nutritionist, to look at food by their components. It is none of your business as a common man to look at food as its components. Please learn to respect food. We have to respect food and eat with gratitude that I have food in front of me. Millions of people don't have food in front of them. And we do have that privilege. And so start looking at food as food. This is the first thing I want people to understand, and I'll do all the efforts to ensure you look at food as food. And to make you understand this, I might have to break it down into its components and tell you what they all do inside the body and how they run this system, and they do it together. And then we come to that place where we no more have to look at them in breaking them down. This is what I intend to share in the second chapter when it comes to food groups. When we understand this much, we will be capable of designing our own healthy, wholesome plates, because we are looking at body as one whole body and food as wholesome food. And you don't have to worry about how do I create a healthy, wholesome, healthy plate for my family or my clients, whether they belong to different age groups, different genders, different diseases. For everything, you will find a solution. It is very simple, and that is what we learn in the next part. Going ahead, this is one of the worst things nutrition science has done to us, counting calories. And I want to make sure that you stop counting calories. Instead, start counting nutrients. It is the nutrients which prevent diseases and promote health. Why are we bothered about calories? We have to look at our nutrients. Where do I get my nutrients? Where is the loss of nutrients happening? At what level? Whether it is at the farmer's level, in the soil, or the transportation, or the harvesting, or at the supermarket levels, or at our kitchen levels, where are we losing? How do I bring in most? This is what we need to learn next. And then comes the diseases. The minute I say disease, we generally get scared because this is what we have learned as an experience. That's what is our experience too. But I bring in nature cure philosophy to a large extent here because it has beautiful concepts. Nature cure says, if there is a pain or an ache or a disorder, it is the body's way of telling us something is going wrong. Be aware, wake up and correct them. They're friendly. They're the ones which are going to help us. Why should we be scared of them? And with this concept, we learn about different diseases and disorders. Basically, in this course, I'm going to deal with major lifestyle disorders and some of the disorders which people who have joined into the course personally have. In detail, I'll be dealing with these and touch upon those diseases which people are personally having who have joined the course. And what is so different about what I'm going to teach is allopathy generally deals with the symptoms and give us temporary relief from these symptoms with medications and procedures. But here you're going to learn what caused my problem. What are the causes for all of these major lifestyle diseases? If we can remove the causes, where is the disease? When you remove the cause, diseases disappears and health emerges. That is what we are going to learn in this whole of these chapters. And go ahead with yogic philosophy of food. What is so beautiful about that? Our ancient people knew that everything depends on what mind perceives, and it needs to be dealt here and not at the plate level. We always try to deal at the plate level, change things, change diets, change doctors, change dietitians, and fail year after year. But yogic philosophy, which was considered as the Indian psychology, deals a lot about mind and how do we deal with the mind? How do we change the mind? This is a very beautiful concept, which I'm going to deal with at almost fag end of the course. And then comes the tools. Working with thousands of clients in these last 25 odd years, I have learned so many tricks and tools which can help people change these. And that is what I'm going to share at the end, so that whatever you have learned can be adopted easily. And at this point, I have to mention that I'm grateful to all those people who have made me what I am. My teachers, mentors, gurus, every single client of mine, and my family, especially my husband, who stood with me and made me what I am today. With that, let's begin today's session. People always ask me, why should I eat right? Let me answer that question with this powerful short clip. Well, if I ask the almost 235 people on this platform at this point in time, all of you will say, I want to live and die the way this man on the left side has lived. All of us want to be healthy and mobile and fit till the last breath. But the problem is, we don't want to do anything towards that. Is that possible? Isn't it? We do everything. Let us take an example of our jobs. We put in a lot of effort. We put in a lot of time to earn money, to earn that job, isn't it? Similarly, health needs to be earned. Money doesn't fall from the sky. So is health. Health needs to be earned. It simply doesn't happen. You have to put in some time and effort to gain health or earn health. Any amount of money, fame and name is not going to bring your health back once it is ruined. So it is very, very important to ensure to be healthy. Also, you should remember that this is the only tool we have, whatever the goals are in your life. Whether you want to earn more name, fame, and money, you have to fulfill your desires. you want to do some service in the society, or even liberation for that matter, you need this body. If you don't have this body healthy, you can't achieve any of that. I'm sure all of you will agree. Imagine a simple common cold. Truly, please imagine your head is heavy, your nose is running, your eyes are burning, you cannot breathe properly, you feel low on energy, you feel feverish. You want to live like that? Common cold. You will see, when will I get rid of this? I can't work, I can't cook, I can't take care of children, I can't do anything with just common cold. And what to talk about other diseases and disorders. So it becomes very important to take care of this body so that it is in healthy state. Now, out of these 238 people, I'm sure most of you, or a lot of people, are youngsters. And you could be wondering, oh, come on, I've been living like this, eating wrong, living wrong for the time I've lived, maybe 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, and nothing has happened. And why do I want to trust you that something is going to happen, right? Let me answer all these youngsters. Yes, you're very true. Nothing has happened in spite of abusing your bodies. Why? It is like buying a machine, a new one, let's say a blender or a mixer. A new mixer is so powerful, so capable, so sharp. Even if you put sand into it, it will blend it and make it fine. Just because it is capable, if you keep grinding sand in it for a week, not more, just a week, the blades become blunt, and even the softest of the fruits or vegetables cannot be blended anymore. Isn't it? Exactly like that. Our bodies are absolutely capable. They knew you have all the organ systems perfectly fine. So any abuse you do, they keep on repairing, healing, and bounce back to health. How long? Not very long. Depending on the risk factors you carry, on the hereditary factors and genes, it is different for many of us. And at that breaking point, organs and organ systems starts breaking down one after the other, because they're all connected. And we get into a big soup. Don't allow your bodies till there. Take care of them is what I'm trying to say. Today, medical science and technology has advanced so much and given us so much that it has increased our lifespans. Without the drugs and procedures, probably we were dead and gone long time back. But because of them, we are alive. What is the use of being alive, suffering with these kinds of diseases and disorders half our lives? Look at the quality of life today. It is more of dying, I would say, rather than living. I have seen many elderly people reaching me. They are really in a very sad state, dealing with multiple diseases and disorders, multiple drugs, running from one testing labs to another testing lab, from one doctor to another specialist, druggists, therapists. Their life seems to be just revolving around this. And they ask me, when will this end? How I wish we could wish and it would end. We will do whatever we want. I'll eat wrong, live wrong, do whatever I want. And one day I will say I need to disappear and we would be dead and gone. It doesn't happen, isn't it? So it becomes important to take care of ourselves. And also, today's state is, earlier at least, the whole family was together to take care of people who are reaching the old age. Today doesn't happen so with us. Probably we are the last generation who took care of our elders. Today, our children go away from us Not to blame them, their work and interests take them away from homes. And so we are left behind with no loved ones to take care of us. That is why it becomes important even more to take care of it when it is working properly and healthy, so that we don't become a burden on ourselves, others, and suffer during the last days or years of our lives. Now that we have understood how to prevent and be healthy and need to be healthy, what about people who are already unhealthy? What about people who are suffering with diseases and disorders already? Well, we also have an opportunity. Why? Because our systems are so beautifully designed. Every single day, things are changing inside our bodies constantly with rapid speed at the cellular level, at the molecular level, at the atomic level, at the subatomic level. Everywhere, things are changing inside our body. Things are becoming new inside our body. Let me give you a few examples. Like the cells lining the stomach and the intestines are replaced every 2 to 9 days. The blood cells, depending on what blood cells, they're replaced. The new ones are formed within few weeks to few months. Heart muscle cells are replaced at the rate of 0.5% to 10% in a year, which means to say in a lifetime, we probably have a completely new heart. The neurons, the nerve cells in the brain, even though most of it are there for a lifetime, the neurons in the hippocampus area, which is related to our emotions and memory, get replaced. 700 of them are added on every single day, even into our old age. This change gives us a window of opportunity to make them healthy. The new cells which are being built, which are being formed, can become healthy if we feed health into it. Right eating and living can make these new ones coming up healthy. So it is in our hands to create a healthy environment and create health, or continue to do the wrong things and suffer. So it's absolutely possible to reverse our diseases and disorders, right from cold to cancer. Because we have created them with our wrong eating and living. When we change them, they also change. It does not happen in a day. Of course, it is going to start changing in a day itself, but in few weeks to months to a couple of years, depending on what problems you have, how long you have had, and how much you have ruined your bodies, it can all get reversed and you can get back to health. Complete health is possible. And philosophically speaking also, our bodies are not designed to be in ill health or disease. The minute we can change the conditions, the minute we can change the environment inside the body, it bounces back to health, because its innate nature is to be in health. Here, I'm always reminded of this beautiful small story, which was published in Amar Chitrakatha. I have heard from Swami Shri Bharatishwara Saraswati, Raghaveshwara Bharati Swamiji in his talks. And I definitely want to repeat it every time I do this course, because it gives you a break. And also when I say story, all of us become children. We are all very curious to understand, and it's very easy to relate when it comes through a story. There was a sage who went to have a bath in a water body. As he dipped and took water in his palms to do the sun salutation, he saw a little baby mouse in his palm. And having pity on the mouse, he wanted to save the mouse. He walked towards the bank and was just about to release the mouse, and he saw a hawk around. He said, okay, this is not a good idea. He closed his fist and walked to his ashram. There, not knowing how to take care of a mouse with his yogic powers, seems that he turned this little mouse into a baby girl and took care of this baby girl with utmost love and care. When this girl came to an marriageable age, he was so attached and loved his daughter, he decided he was going to find the most powerful and wonderful groom for her. And he reaches the sun god and says, I know you are the most powerful. Will you marry my daughter? And the daughter dares to ask the sun god, are you really, truly powerful? And the sun god replies, no, clouds can cover me anytime, so they are more powerful. And now both the sage and the daughter reach the clouds. And the daughter asks the same question. And the clouds say, wind can blow me off to any direction they want. And they are more powerful. And thus they reach the clouds. And the clouds say, a mountain can stop me. And he is more powerful. And thus they reach the mountain and ask the same question. And the mountain replies, yes, all the elements of nature are true, saying that I'm powerful, but I know my state of affairs. A small little mouse can burrow a huge deep hole into myself. And now the girl gets excited and says, okay, I want to marry this mouse. Why? That innate nature did not go anywhere. That was her natural self, isn't it? So that came up probably, and the sage had no other choice to turn her back into a mouse and get them married, is the story. But what I am trying to tell you is, this is the state of affairs with our body also. It is always ready and waiting for an opportunity to bounce back to health. And our job is to just create this healthy environment in and out, and it comes back to health. Now, who shall I put this responsibility off? Because now I know that I can become healthy. And where do I put this responsibility? I'm not ready to take that responsibility, right? I always want to wash off my hands. And we generally put this responsibility to these two industries, very easily blaming them all the time. Let us look at these two industries separately. Coming to the food industry, we think somebody out there is sitting and taking care of all the legalities of the food, what is right, what is wrong, what is healthy, what is unhealthy, and ensure that they allow all the healthy foods into the market. Common sense, think of it. When you call it an industry, what are they sitting there for? To make money, isn't it? It is that simple. Now, there was a study which was done on the supermarkets. In this study, the researchers said, we know more than enough that sugar is toxic, sugar is poisonous, sugar creates diseases and disorders. So let's remove those stuff on the supermarket shelf which has sugar, so that we can provide healthy stuff to the consumers. And I'm sure you'll not be surprised. At the end of the study, there were no packets left on the supermarket shelf. Why? Because every single packet, bottle, and tin had sugar in different forms. Why? As I said, these are all factory-made foods. Foods made to make money. So all these foods will always contain sugar for two reasons. One, sugar is a preservative. To enhance the shelf life of their products, they have no choice but to add sugar to keep the product. Second, as I said, they have to ensure you and I get hooked on to their product, isn't it? Otherwise, why would they be present in the industry? So, sugar is the culprit. Sugar can hit that part of the brain which will ask for it again and again and again. Sugar is 8 times more powerful than cocaine. So, nobody bothers, right? Sugar, nobody is bothered. It is, unfortunately, we give sugary foods to the people who we love. It's an expression of love when we share food made with sugar. And we need to understand what we are actually gifting our loved ones, right? Anyway, let me come back. These, whether they are spicy, sweet, sour, any kind of product, they have to add sugar in different forms to ensure these two happen. And that's why it is not wise to depend on foods, that is especially the factory-made foods. No food industry to be responsible for our health. Coming into the health industry. Why don't doctors tell what you're saying is what every client tells me. Well, doctors are not trained to do that. Allopathy, for example, allopaths are trained to figure out exact diagnosis of what is wrong inside the body because they are the experts of anatomy and physiology of the body. They can pinpoint and tell us where exactly what is going wrong and treat us in the sense with drugs and procedures. They are trained to do that and they're able to do that. Why blame them? They're not there to tell us how to repair the cause we are going through. So they are doing their jobs, and especially in today's sick society, they hardly get 5 to 10 minutes with every single patient. And you expect them to change our food and lifestyle? Absolutely no. It is not their job and they cannot become responsible for our health. It is the responsibility of each one of us. So take charge and see what can be done to take care of your health. Added to that, today we have health food industry. All they have to label on their packet is health food, organic food, baked food, and all such jargons so that we buy them. Sadly, this is increasing and I don't see any value in these marketed foods. So where do we stand then? If it is my responsibility to take charge of my health, where do I start? How do I know if I'm healthy or not is the first step. Do I go to a biggest path lab in my city, get all my blood work and body work done, and see if all the parameters meet the so-called normal magical numbers? If they meet, then forget about it, continue to eat wrong, live wrong, till they show that number. What do? Nature Cure says absolutely no and gives us beautiful parameters to check for ourselves. And if you're interested, pick up a paper and a pen and write down these simple parameters which will tell you how healthy you are. The very first parameter is called feeling of well-being. Nature Cure gives huge importance to this feeling of well-being because it's not just the absence of disease which tells us that I'm healthy, but I should also feel from within that feeling of health or well-being, whether it could be energies, it could be simply feeling low in the mind or in the body, or have no interest in doing things. It could be a lot of things. There is no disease, but I have all these signs and symptoms. Then Nature Cure says something is going wrong within, and it is important to check where, what, and correct it. There are many people who reach me with huge files with this particular issue. They say we have, kind of tested almost all parameters, visited all kinds of specialists. Everything seems to be normal, but I know something is wrong within. I know I can't figure out, I can't pinpoint and tell you what's wrong, but something is not normal. Can you help me? And this is exactly what is that feeling of not being well within. If you feel so for any reason, then you're not healthy, is what Nature Cure declares. Next parameter it gives is timely and effortless elimination of waste. Nature Cure's philosophy is any uneliminated toxin and waste material inside the body accumulated over a period of time, which is rotting inside, is what is the cause for all kinds of diseases and disorders. So if we can eliminate that waste properly, completely, on a daily basis, then to a large extent, we've ensured health. It gives a lot of prominence to this timely, effortless elimination first thing in the morning. Sadly, none of us have time for this business. All of us have such important work to do first thing in the morning. We hardly think this is important or give any priority in our lives. But Nature Cure says, it goes to the extent of saying, you have no right to eat a meal unless you've eliminated completely and properly. It is that very important. If you have constipation, if you have gut disorders where you feel you have not eliminated properly or doesn't happen effortlessly, then you are not healthy. Keen hunger. How many of us can declare, I can create keen hunger? Today, in most part of the world, people don't know what that means. We are suffering with overnutrition or over-calorie rather than undernutrition today in most parts of the world. Because the well-meaning people sadly have told us, eat often. Frequent eating is what is essential, is the norm. Every 2.5 hours is what has been prescribed. Whether it is healthy or unhealthy, eating every 2 hours is absolutely unhealthy. Why? Our guts are not designed to work 24/7. Our guts are designed to work short periods of time, and there needs to be a huge rest period between meals. Only then the earlier meal gets completely digested, absorbed, assimilated, and only after complete metabolism is when the hunger satiety hormones start signaling and create hunger. Unless this hunger is created, whatever you dump into your body, it cannot be digested properly, and all the nutrients absorbed into the system and work properly. So, if you cannot create keen hunger for whatever reason, and you've ruined the hunger satiety hormones inside your body, then you're not healthy. Deep sleep. Why is deep sleep so important? This is when maintenance of this system happens. At deep sleep is when repair, relaxation hormones are released every single day. Even when you take care of a machine completely, still maintenance is required, isn't it? Servicing is required, and that happens in sleep. When we sleep, these repair hormones are released, And whatever had gone wrong, whatever had broken down in the body, purposefully or unpurposefully, naturally or because of abuse, everything gets repaired during sleep. So it becomes very, very important. If you can't sleep, in just a few minutes after you put your head onto the bed, if you don't get good sound sleep through the night, and if you don't wake up fresh in the morning, then you have not had good quality sleep. And today, all youngsters have so much to do in their hands and tables, and elders have so much in their heads to worry. Most of us cannot put ourselves into sleep. And this is the biggest problem. If you can't sleep well, you are not considered healthy. Cheerful mind. With so many aches, pains, diseases, and disorders around, how can I have a cheerful mind? Honestly, none of my body parts should remind me of their presence. Only then I can have a cheerful mind. But how many of us can be proud of this? Of course, there will be huge challenges in our lives, in other spheres of our lives. And it is very essential to train our minds to be cheerful in spite of all that happening in our lives. But when it comes to health, it should not disturb the cheerfulness of our minds. If I am unable to be cheerful, I am not healthy. A fit body. Unfortunately, today, industry has created such hypes around obesity that we think it's okay to be obese. It's okay to be large. No, it is not. Obesity is the mother of all diseases and disorders. It is very important to ensure we are in the right weight. Industry offers us huge dresses, huge meal plates, huge, seats in the halls and things like that, cinema halls. But no, we need to be aware and take charge of it. If you're not healthy. Absence of laziness. An active, aware, and completely energetic mind is what is related to a sattvic mind, a healthy mind. A lazy mind is a tamasic mind. It is a diseased mind. If you feel lazy, lethargic, and postpone things all the time, you are not healthy, is what Nature Cure says. Graceful movements. Today, I need support to sit up and sit down. We have come to that state because of our wrong postures, wrong sleeping areas, beds, footwear, the way we spend time sitting in front of computers without any kind of physical activity, and our brains over-exercised. Lot of things add to the ungraceful movements. And if you have one, you are not considered healthy. Finally, our bodies are capable of producing enough heat and distributing it throughout the body, whatever the seasons are outside. If my body is not capable of distributing equal heat throughout the body, then something is going wrong. These are the simple parameters which Nature Cure gives us. And my master, Dr. Arun Sharma ji, puts it beautifully. Why do you want to check parameters? Going to a lab. What is the use of checking parameters? Change your habits and everything will set right inside. Change your eating and living habits is what he says. Now, I want you to think one more thing. Let's say you got all your parameters checked. How many of them do we know as of now? Few hundreds, isn't it? So you check all those parameters. Is that all what happens inside the human body? Thousands of reactions happen every single moment. We don't even know them. Forget about knowing their normal values. When we don't even know them, how do we correct them? Body is correcting them day in and day out, all the thousands of them. And why the hell are we struggling with these few hundreds? Checking them and correcting them, popping a pill, popping a supplement and correcting them. Why? If body is intelligent enough and capable enough to correct all those thousands, why do we not allow body to take care of these parameters also? Correct the habits and they get corrected. That's as simple as this. Based on this, Nature Cure goes on to define health and disease. It says, if you have a filthy, toxin-filled body, toxic environment, diseases are bound to happen. But if you are living in a clean atmosphere, clean body, then health emerges. So, what you need to do is clean up the system and health emerges on its own. You don't have to do anything. You have to create the environment and health happens. It is just like, darkness and light. We don't have to struggle with darkness. The moment we bring in light, darkness disappears. There is no definition for darkness. Similarly, Nature Cure says, don't define disease. There is nothing called disease. Improve your health and disease disappears. And to improve the health, we have to have a clean environment. Towards this, let's begin some amount of work to cleanse our body by proper elimination. So here comes the first assignment. In the direction of complete elimination, let's start doing this exercise. First thing in the morning, as you become vertical from the horizontal position, don't walk towards your mobile, don't walk towards the newspapers, don't walk towards your kitchen, don't walk towards your computers. Walk straight into your bathrooms. Sit on the pot. Relax. If you're not relaxed, this business is not going to happen, because it is not going to happen down there. It is going to happen here, because all of that are controlled by nerves. Unless you relax, this is not going to happen. So first, please relax. You can't be thinking of what shall I cook next, or what shall I send a mail, where, what, planning, worrying, tensing is not going to help you in this process. So relax. Sit on the pot. If you have an Indian style, wonderful. If you don't, well, you don't have a choice. Try and sit on, or these days we get a perfect stool where we can put our legs on that and create that kind of a angle from the duodenum till the anus. Use those kinds of stools and help and support complete elimination. And don't rush out in a minute or two, whether it happens or not. Please sit for at least 10 minutes so that everything in the large intestine gets out of the system. If you think it's not going to happen, then brush your teeth, sip on a glass of warm water, massage your abdomen clockwise softly a couple of times, and then sit on the pot. Either that way or this way. Sit for a few days, because your brain has to understand, yes, this is a time for elimination, and then start doing the process. So give some time to yourself and sit on the pot, and it will start happening. Let me repeat everything, every concept I teach. Generally, I repeat at least 2 or 3 times. One, from the scientific point of view, second, in the common man's language, and then summarize it so that whoever is listening to me gets every point of view and they can understand at their level and adopt it. Now, let me read it from my slide. Sit on the pot for 10-15 minutes, relaxed. Observe breathing and stay calm. Do not rush. If need be, brush, sip a glass of water and massage the abdomen few times clockwise and sit on the pot. Body will recognize this act of yours and adopt soon to eliminate. And I cannot describe in words when there is a complete elimination first thing in the morning, how light you feel, how fresh you feel, how nice you feel, both for that matter. Constipation and complete elimination cannot be described in words. It is an experience, and I'm sure all of you will agree with me. People who have complete elimination also will agree with me, and people who are suffering also will agree with me. So ensure this happens. Just this will not help you to a large extent. The right way of eating, bringing in fiber, and all of this also needs to be done, and we will deal with it as we go ahead. But this is the first thing I want all of you to adopt. We have 237 people on the platform at this point. I want each one of you to start doing this exercise first thing in the morning from tomorrow and see how you start feeling. And coming to those people who have registered for the course, you have no choice. You have to report back to me every single day in the WhatsApp group created by the Wellcure team. So you better do it, and I will be there to ask you in the group tomorrow morning. Well, practice it every day. Now, let's come to the food. When I say food, we always think and feel what's on the plate is the food, but not true. Whatever input is given into the system is food. And Taittiriya Upanishad says, this body is made up of 5 natural elements called Panchabhutas. Out of the universal consciousness is born the space, and out of space comes the air, and then comes fire, and out of which comes water, and from there comes earth, and from earth comes plants, herbs, and that is where the animals come out of, because they get food out of it, is what Taittiriya Upanishad declares in the 2nd chapter of Brahmanandavalli or Anandavalli, in the first Anuvak or the verse. When I say Upanishad, it has nothing to do with any specific religion. It is a body of knowledge. And when we understand that this body is made up of these 5 elements, all of them become food for the body. And we are going to understand all these 5 elements, what they are, what they do to the bodies, how they work, what are the benefits we get, and how do we adopt them into our lifestyles. When I say we are going to understand all the 5 elements, they are huge subjects for discussion, and they have different perspectives. So what I'm going to touch upon is very small aspect related to health, body, and disease. The earth is the grossest, and as we move ahead, the next subtler is water, more subtler is fire, more subtler is air, and the subtlest is the space. And our texts also tell us that subtler the element, the potent it becomes. So space is the subtlest, and space is the most potent. I do know that the element of earth carries all the elements. So the food we eat, which comes from the plant and the herbs, also carry all the elements. But because it is so gross, the potency decreases. So it's important to get it directly from all these elements so that it gives the healing effect inside our bodies. Let's start with the subtlest element called space. Well, when I say space, also called ether, I mean to say, how can I create space inside my stomach? Well, the answer is quite scary. It's called fasting. The moment I say fasting, people get dejected and they say, oh, come on, who wants to do fasting? Let me explain. Please allow me to explain and make your decisions. When it comes to fasting, let's first look at eating. Let's take a common man. First thing, as we open our eyes, we want a beverage, a coffee or a tea or whatever you're used to. And no sooner it goes in, we've been advised that breakfast has to be as quick as possible because you're supposed to have fasted through the night. And so that is why it is called breakfast. And then eat huge, rich breakfast as soon as possible. So we eat the huge meal. And in a few hours, it is because of boredom or stress, we want to have something else. And again, another cup of coffee or tea happens. And very soon, another huge meal called lunch happens, even before this huge breakfast settles down, gets digested, or in the path of digestion, already the second huge meal has come into the system. And again, another couple of hours, something to drink and eat. And in another couple of hours, another huge meal called dinner. And some of us even have a habit of drinking a glass of milk by the end of the day, just before we go to bed. Imagine the amount of mess in our guts. Well, my intention is not going into that. Let me come back to fasting. But what I meant to say here is, look at the amount of time, energy, and work my gut needs to do when I'm eating like this. It has to spend a lot of time and energy to process all of this and pick up what is necessary for the body and eliminate what is not necessary for the body. Common sense, isn't it? Now, let me get back to fasting. What happens during fasting? It is not your kind of fasting. With 1 kilo of bananas, 1 kilo of upma, 1 kilo of poha, or 1 liter of milk. No, not that kind of fasting. My kind of fasting is just being on water. Be on water. What happens now? The major work which the gut does through the day has been stopped. There is nothing going into the gut, isn't it? So the major work for the body is not there. Now let me just relate it to your life. I'm sure most of us are working. And when we are stressed for time, what do we do through the week? We throw things here and there in the house. And in the weekend, when we are off work, we tell ourselves, well, I have time and energy. Let me clean up the house. Let me put things in its place. Isn't it? Exactly like that, the brain works. Now the brain says, wow, I don't have major work to do today. I have a lot of energy. So what shall I do? It says, let me clean up the system. Detoxification happens. Also, it says, let me take up some repair work, healing work, because I have a lot of time and energy at my disposal. And thus, fasting directly does not heal. Fasting per se does not create health, but it creates an environment inside the body for health, healing, repair, and cleaning. And thus, we move towards health. When did we get to know this? 2016, Dr. Osumi, a cell biologist from Japan, got a Nobel Prize for deciphering the mechanism behind fasting. He went on to prove that even repair at the DNA level can happen during fasting. That is why fasting is so potent and so important. Did we get to know after 2016? No. Indians have been doing fasting for thousands of years. Take any religion in India, we might differ in the patterns of fasting, but all of us do fasting. And we have been told, Langhanam Param Aushadham. What is Langhanam? Fasting. Param Aushadham. There is no better treatment, no better medication. Dr. Osumi did not tell this. We have been told for ages together. And our people knew this. Not just this. The whole of the world appreciates this. Whole of the world knows that repair and healing can happen, and physiologically, a lot of things can happen. It has been proved beyond doubt in the scientific world. But Indians went beyond body and mind. This is the most beautiful contribution India has made. What's that? Look at the Sanskrit word for fasting. Upavasa. Upavas, if I have to say it in the North Indian languages. What is Upavasa? It is a Sanskrit word made of two words, Upa and Vasa. Upa is near, Vasa is to live. What does that mean? It is to live near what? Your own self. Call it by whatever name you want. Atma, self, God, nature, whatever. You're going towards that inner self. Generally, our senses go outwards because all our senses seek pleasure, seek knowledge. So it is turned outside. But our ancient people figured out that during fasting, this inward journey happens. All our senses turn inwards, and you will start walking towards yourself. And the whole of the crux of the Indian philosophies is to understand that self within. The whole question we are taught is to ask, who am I? The minute we know this answer to who am I is where we get liberated, is our philosophy. So this inward journey happens, and our people gave a lot of importance to this inward journey, and that is why fasting was done. And invariably, during the fasting, we got all these physiological benefits also. And they were not done once in a way when we were sick. No, there was a regular interval of fasting. And that is how most of our ancient people were healthy, were in the right weights and right frame of mind also. Well, is this all what I am saying? No. Let me get back to the text and tell you what the texts tell us. Fasting creates the most important condition for eradication of any disease because it gives rest to the gut. We automatically stop ingestion of unsuitable foods, which itself promotes health. Stomach and intestines empty themselves of accumulated, unexcreted body wastes better and completely. All organs of elimination get an opportunity to intensify their normal functions because they have time and energy to do so. It promotes increase in metabolic activity. Please remember, I'm not talking about metabolic rate. It is complete metabolic activity because there is space given. Fasting allows an opportunity to normalize chemical composition inside our bodies. It also allows body an opportunity to regenerate and rejuvenate cells. Digestive organs are regenerated, and thus digestion and assimilation of nutrients get enhanced after a fast. Fasting conserves vital nervous energy. Brain tissues are cleansed of toxic accumulation, fostering clarity of thought. Fasting improves function of every cell, organ, and tissue, and thus promote health. And who is saying this? I've picked up every statement from here. This book called How to Fast, Nature's Method for the Restoration of Health, written by a naturopath, Kenneth S. Jeffrey. He himself was suffering from cancer, and he was given just a few months to live. And that is when he decided to experiment and understand. And he did a lot of work in the natural way. He cured himself by fasting 49 days on water. Please do not attempt to do such things on your own without a supervision of a good naturopath. I repeat, please do not attempt to do any such things on your own. He did 49 days of water fasting, followed by right eating and living and resting. And this is what allowed him to bounce back to health, cure himself of completely of cancer, and lived to the ripe age of 90. He wrote a lot of articles, books, and helped people restore their health. And I have taken all these statements from this particular book. And it's not easy to fast. The first thing which helps us is the knowledge itself. It can give us so many benefits. That particular knowledge itself will motivate us to do the fasting. But we should not do fasting. Fasting is not to be done. Fasting should happen. How can that happen? If it does not happen, it is suffering. It is starving. What is the difference between starving and fasting? Oh my God, I have not eaten. Oh my God, I have not eaten. Do you know I have not eaten from morning? I have not eaten. I have not eaten. What will I eat? When will I eat? What will I cook? Where will I get? What or shall I order? All these thoughts around food and feeling of suffering is called starving. We are not looking at starving. It's not going to help us in any way. We have to fast. And fasting has to happen. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. This knowledge will help you fasting to happen. And the second thing our people figured out is to help this fasting happen, doing prayers, chanting, being in a place of worship, doing some vratas, or just being in a place of nature. All of this will help us. And remember, fasting per se does not cure, but it provides the right conditions for curing, repair, and healing to happen inside the body. With this much, let me go ahead and tell you, this is Dr. Osumi. What did he do? His most important work was autophagy. What is autophagy? As the name suggests, the auto is on its own, phagy is to dissolve, is to kill. Our bodies are designed in such a way where something, when it goes wrong in a cell, that cell is supposed to kill itself so that it does not replicate and doesn't become a problem to the body over a period of time. This mechanism is inbuilt inside our body. But because of our wrong eating and living, what is wrong eating and living? It is the philosophy of survival of the fittest. If you keep feeding the body, if a cell goes wrong for some reason, the DNA material inside a cell goes wrong. If you continue to feed, that cell multiplies and thrives. But if you stop feeding, all the healthy, strong cells multiplies, and the rogue cells, the wrong cells, the unhealthy cells, the weak cells cannot survive in this atmosphere. They kill themselves, dissolve, and get rid of themselves. This is a beautiful mechanism present in our bodies. But and when does this get triggered off? during fasting. This is the most important work Dr. Osumi did. And for the want of time, I might not read the slide. It is there right in front of you. And I have explained in the simple terms. So if you want to prevent different kinds of cancers, tumors, cysts, and things like that, it is very important to do a periodic fasting. And also to reverse, to heal, and to repair, this becomes a perfect space. There are different kinds of fasting. I don't want you to bother about different kinds. Every day, the industry comes with different kinds of fasting. But I would like to leave you with very simple ways of doing it. Don't worry about it. Before I go there, I want to touch upon a couple of papers from the scientific world to ensure you understand whatever I said happens, because this has been proved now. I'll read it for you. In the University of California, the researchers found evidence that fasting affects circadian clocks in the liver and the skeletal muscle, causing them to rewrite their metabolism, which can ultimately lead to improved health and protection against age-associated diseases. It was published in 2019. And I visit some of the important papers published. I've chosen one sample paper for different diseases. There are multiple papers. There is no dearth for scientific understanding today. This paper, the first one, was published in 2002, and it says long-term fast. 82% of people in this group saw their blood pressure fall to healthy levels of 120/80. The average drop in blood pressure was 20 mmHg for systolic and 7 mmHg for diastolic. And the next paper was published in 2013, and it says 30 healthy adults followed a water fast for 24 hours. After the fast, they had significantly lowered blood levels of cholesterol and triglycerides. Both are risk factors for cardiovascular diseases. And the next is on cancer. You've already understood with Dr. Osumi's work how fasting works in cancer. And the next paper was published in 21. A review found that both intermittent fasting and the alternate day fasting were as effective as limiting calorie intake at reducing insulin resistance. Of course, we'll talk a lot about insulin resistance in the coming classes, but all it means is it helps in diabetes. Your digestive system may also benefit from getting periodic breaks. Studies suggest that it might improve gut health and even longevity. Other studies have demonstrated that intermittent fasting can help by changing the gut microbiota in positive ways. We will also understand about microbiota in the later years. This was published in 2014. What you see on the left-hand side is the paper which was published. The title of the paper, which year it was published, you can go back and refer. Some research has also found that short-term fasting may boost metabolism by increasing levels of the neurotransmitter norepinephrine, because it breaks down the lipids inside the body, which could enhance weight loss. What is more important to learn from the same paper is, in addition, fasting was found to be more effective than calorie restriction at increasing fat loss while simultaneously preserving muscle tissue. All the youngsters who are looking at preserving muscle tissue do not have to worry while fasting. Fat loss happens and muscle loss does not happen, provided you have a good resistance regime built into your system. Next paper, fasting could improve brain function, increase nerve cell synthesis, and protection against neurodegenerative conditions like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Why? Because it releases a particular chemical called brain-derived neurotropic factor, BDNF, which actually protects the neurons and help regeneration of the neurons. Practicing intermittent fasting may also help you sleep better. Many people think otherwise. Oh, I'll be hungry, I'll not be able to sleep. But it is proved scientifically that you can get a better sleep by having a positive effect on the body's natural circadian rhythms. During periods of fasting, your body undergoes repair and rejuvenation, which I was speaking, that are linked to longer lifespan. Well, I just wanted to show this as a complete what happens inside the body. So many growth hormones go down, so many growth factors come down, so many inflammatory markers come down, and this is what creates health inside the body. We see this day in and day out in nature. For all those people who have some pets at home, I'm sure you have this experience. The minute something goes wrong or they fall sick, all they do is first thing, stop eating and get complete rest. They sleep like a log. It might even scare us, thinking something is wrong and we might rush them to the vet. But they completely rest. When they feel cold, they walk towards the sun's heat, and lie down and rest there also, and sip on water. They do only these 3-4 things. Stop eating, rest well completely, take sunlight and fresh air, and sip on water. And they bounce back to health in just a couple of days. And that's all what is necessary to be done if you want to bounce back to health. And this is what we have to learn from nature. And I take this statement from this particular book, Efficacy of Fasting by Dr. Gala. Bees and birds instinctively avoid taking food to get rid of illnesses. Loss of appetite is a prominent symptom of every disease, which we have experienced every time we fall sick. Even simple common cold or fever, our appetite goes off, telling us don't eat. But what do? We seem to misunderstand that because my taste buds are not working, I add more masala, more salt, more flavors, more oil, and I don't know what to say, ruin it even more badly. So this is what we need to learn. And coming to that, after understanding, let's see how can we adopt it into our lives. Because I have so many people on the platform right now, and I have no clue what could be happening in your life at this point of time in concern with health. I want to give a simple, very short fast so that everybody can adopt it safely. What do? Pick one day of the week, any day which suits you, where you have less of physical activity and mental activity. Why? Because what are you trying to do during fasting? Provide lot of energy and time for healing and repair to happen. But if you start doing a lot of activity physically and mentally, all your energy is used up. So we need to conserve that energy for repair and healing. So don't do it on a day where you have work. So choose such a day where you have less, I'm not saying complete no work, where you have less work physically and mentally, whatever day suits you. And that particular day, do not have your early morning beverage, whatever you're drinking. Do not eat your breakfast. Be on water. It's just a half a day fast. Be on water till lunchtime. Rest well. First few times, if you have not done any time till today, you might find it as a little challenge. Rest well. Do small light activities of maybe sitting and reading, or as I said, puja or chanting, or be in nature, or do something. Be in the sunlight, lie down in the sunlight, do a lot of pranayama, do some stretches, things like that. and be on water till lunchtime. If you think you want to prepone lunchtime, please do so. And at lunch, eat a lot of fruits for lunch. Fruits, preferably the lesser types, the better. And it should be soft, sweet fruits. Don't combine too many fruits. Eat a huge amount of fruits till you feel full and contented. And don't eat your masala dosa, rice or roti after an hour. No. Fruits for lunch. Evening, drink a tender coconut water. If you come from that area of the world where you don't get fresh tender coconut water, drink fresh fruit juice mixed with 50% water. No sweetness added. And next, when you get hungry, eat a simple home-cooked meal. This is what I want you to do. What does this mean? Half a day you were on water. And Nature Cure does not even consider this as fasting. This is called an approach to fasting. You're getting your body used to doing the fasting. This is good enough to rest your gut, cleanse a bit, and help in some amount of repair. Now, let me read it from the slide so that I repeat. Half a day fasting. Once a week, choose such a day where you have low physical and mental activity. Drop morning juice or beverage and breakfast. Keep drinking water in sips. The temperature of water can be depending on the seasons. If you want it warm, if the season is cold, you keep it warm, otherwise plain water. And have a fruit meal for lunch, preferably soft, sweet, and not too many fruits. Lunch is completely fruits only. Evening, tender coconut water or a fresh fruit juice with water. Then for dinner, dinner can be early dinner because you could get hungry quickly. And dinner is simple cooked meal with less spices, less oil, homemade. And this every week do once. And that one day has to repeat. Say, for example, I have chosen Sunday. Every week it has to be a Sunday. Every week, don't keep changing. Once a week, Sunday, next week, Monday. No, it disturbs too much. But once in a way, if that Sunday happens to be something where you need to go out or do something, or you have a wedding, or you have a travel or something, then that particular week shift it to either Saturday or Monday. Otherwise, always keep it on a Sunday. I've just chosen as an example Sunday, but whatever suits you, pick that day. Every week, do this half a day water fasting, and that will add a lot of value to your health. And if you're interested, you can go to my website and read this article which I've written. When I got, I was suffering with COVID during the COVID times, and all I did was go on water fast for 2 days, just 2 days. And I was able to bounce back to complete health on the 3rd day. So I've described what I did and how I went through it and all my experiences here. If you're interested, you can go through it. And a simple light cooked dinner can be a khichdi with some vegetables and green leafy vegetables going into it, which will be mild with no oil at all. I shall end today's session with a small little story. Why? Because everything which I'm going to discuss are very simple but difficult to adopt. For example, today's fasting. Don't you feel, oh my God, how to do this? So it becomes very important to have the right people around. The Sangha, the community matters. There was a parrot which gave birth to 2 chicks and died for some reason. And a hunter caught these 2 chicks. He sold one to an ashram and the other one to a thief. And these 2 birds grew up at their respective places. The one in the ashram used to constantly ask the sage, I want to see the other bird. I want to see my brother. And the sage would promise that I will take you one day. And as the time passed, both of them grew up learning the ways of their places. This bird, which was in the ashram, learned the ways of the ashram, saying Rama Rama, or it used to welcome people when they came in. It used to ask, are you hungry? Shall I pluck some fruits and drop it down so that you can eat? Do you want some water? Water is here. Please rest under the tree. It used to even go to the extent of dipping itself in water and coming and sprinkling water on the people who walked long times in the sun and reached the ashram. He would go back and tell the sage that somebody is there to see him. So he would do all of these beautiful things. And similarly, the one which was in the with the thief also learned his ways. And one fine day, the sage decided to take this parrot from the ashram to see his brother. They went to the other town. As they were approaching the place of this parrot, all they heard was, catch them, loot them, and kill them. The bird got so scared, immediately it flew back to the ashram. And when the sage came back, it asked him, shocked and surprised, why the hell does my brother behave like this? We were born to the same parents. Why does he behave so badly? And the sage said, very little is towards the parenting. A lot is about how we grow up, what conditions and what environment we grow up matters a lot on how we behave and do. So it's very, very important to have the right community around. If you have people who think being obese is okay, being diseased is okay, and disease is because of my karma, I cannot do anything about it, who have very bad discipline in their life, and they feel it is okay to live like that. And that is what gets rubbed off on us. Instead, if you can create a community of friends or colleagues or household or cousins or relatives or something where people who are interested in becoming healthy are there, that also gets rubbed off and helps us in this journey. And the whole purpose here in this course is to create that community. And Wellcure team will create that WhatsApp group where we are all present, including me, where we are going to have these conversations, motivate each other, inspire each other, learn together, and walk towards the path of health. Well, with that, let me end once again. Today's lecture. Thank you all for attending today's session. Makes a lot of sense to me and adds value to the work I do. And I'll hand over the session to the Wellcure team. Over to you, Janavi Ashleka.
Thank you, Dr. Gauri. Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Gauri, for this amazing and insightful session. I hope everyone here learned a lot and are also excited to unfold what the next 9 sessions have in store for them. And with this, let me quickly share the payment details. Meanwhile, we are opening the chat section for any queries that you guys may have. Okay, so there are 9 more live sessions. Timings will be from 6 to 8 p.m. and days would be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The last session will be on 17th February, and the next session is on this coming Monday, which is 30th. So if you want to enroll in the full course, you can simply scan the QR on the screen and pay at the discounted price, which is currently at 20% off, and you can enroll in the course. So Bharti, no, there are no recordings for the sessions. Dr. Gauri always appreciate people and she always recommends to join live sessions so you can learn more and be attentive to all the assignments that she provide after the session. So we do not provide any recordings, but in case you miss any session, you are free to join the session in the next batch whenever we organize it.
But we do share the summary of the session as notes.
Yes. So you will all be added to a WhatsApp group with all the other participants and Dr. Gauri. And there will every day you will see a lot of activity happening. People will be sharing their journey. Dr. Gauri is obviously there. So yeah, there is also a lot that happens behind the scenes of the session. Okay, so Reshma is asking, can diabetes also break the fast with fruit?
Wow. That's a wonderful question. It is a very important question because when it comes to diabetes, you're on medication or insulin. So you don't eat and take medication or insulin, then we are in trouble, right? You can end up in hypoglycemia. So it's very important for a diabetic to do fasting on supervision. Definitely, you need to do the fasting to heal yourself, to give rest to the pancreas so that it can regenerate and start producing the insulin. But you have to do it under supervision is what I'm saying. At least for the first couple of weeks, please do it under a naturopath, whoever is available in your area of living. There are lots of naturopaths today, and you can get some on the Wellcure platform itself. So please take supervision, guidance, and do it under their care. Or even a doctor who can understand the philosophy and agrees with you in your family, because every family has doctors today. So even if they are doctors, any stream of medicine for that matter, you can do it under them also, but please do it under supervision. Yes.
Okay, next Neha is asking, Doctor, I have thyroid. Also, I'm taking fertility treatment from my gyno who has prescribed medicines. So, is fasting safe with these medicines?
Well, you're doing fasting once a week only, right? So, honestly, if you can eat right and live right, along with that, do the fasting, all your hormone imbalances can set right. I see you have mentioned two things. One is infertility, the other is thyroid. Both are basically hormone imbalances, right? When do you get hormone imbalances? When there is a wrong hormone coming from outside. So you need to learn to stop hormones coming from outside and then eat right and live right. Of course, fasting will help. And if it is only once a week, half a day, it doesn't matter at all. Please continue and you can do the fasting, but do consult your doctor once. Tell them that you're going to do such a half day fast and going to eat fruits in the afternoon. I'm sure it shouldn't have any problem at all, but do mention it to your doctor.
Okay, next is someone is asking, can people with BP do intermittent fasting?
Well, I would say intermittent fasting could be a challenge on a daily basis, right? You have to eat in that particular window where you don't eat for 16 hours. That is intermittent fasting. Instead, start doing the simple work, no, once a week, half a day. Can we not start doing only once a week? Why do you want to do every single day and struggle with that? As I said, it has to happen. You shouldn't be doing. I would suggest do once a week the simple half a day fast.
Yeah. Okay, so Lata is asking, I have high pitta imbalance. Can I do water fasting?
Can you repeat the question? Hi?
Pitta.
Okay, Pitta. So I'm not a Ayurvedic professional. So I cannot comment on Vata, Pitta and Kapha. But what Nature Cure says is we are going to adopt everything what nature gives us. As we learn ahead, we are going to eat as close as what nature gives us. When we are following Nature Cure principles of eating, we don't have to worry about Vata, Pitta and Kapha. All these three vanish and we don't have to follow any of these. That is what Nature Cure philosophy is all about. It is so simple and we don't have to worry about these.
Okay. Someone is asking, can health lifestyle disorders be reversed like diabetes, thyroid, BP, etc.?
Absolutely, yes. But just not fasting. Remember, fasting also helps, but you have to do all else, eating right and living right.
Okay. Next is how to get kids to do fasting.
Oh, please don't. They're already doing everything in the right way. We need to follow them. Don't make them do it. Don't do it. When you say kids, I presume young children. When young children, if you observe, you will see they will not eat unless they are hungry. You cannot say it is breakfast time, it is lunch time, it is dinner time, come. How many 100 times have you called them and failed? Isn't it? Unless you threaten them, they'll not come. Why? They have innate nature of following their hunger. So they will not eat until they are hungry if you leave them alone. But the minute they get hungry, they'll bring the roof down. You have to give them food in the next minute. They will not wait for you. My cooker is cooling. I'm doing this. I'll do this. No. So they listen to the hunger signals from their body. Don't spoil them. You listen also to your hunger signals. But if they are older children who have missed this innate natural quality of hunger signals, then yes, you will have to make them understand why do fasting, what is the importance of doing fasting, and allow them to take the decision. I cannot force somebody. I cannot force my husband. My husband cannot force me. This is a personal journey to take. So make them understand the importance of it and allow them to take the decisions. Yes, Janavi.
Okay, next is, ma'am, I believe in eating healthy and working out, but lately due to stress, time and again, I crave for junk and eat a lot more than usual. So what can I do to reduce this?
Well, see, that is where I have all the freedom, isn't it? Whatever goes wrong in my life, I cannot change my husband, I cannot change my wife, I cannot change my mother-in-law, I cannot change my boss, I cannot even change my neighbor, right? So wherever I have problems in my life, I cannot do anything about it. The only freedom I have is with my food. So the junk, which gives me immediate pleasure is what I go to. And when I eat these kind of foods, they in turn make me feel hooked to it. They're habit forming. So what you're explaining is natural. Please don't feel guilty about it. Please don't worry about it. All you need to understand is you have to fix things. And how do you fix things? First step is knowledge. When you understand why it is happening, what you need to do, then the knowledge itself will propel you towards it. And once you start doing it, when the body gets all the nutrients required by the body, then the cravings drop off on its own. And it will help you remove all this wrong kind of eating and overeating. Hope that helps. Next question, Janvi.
Okay, next, Kinjal is asking, I am from Jain religion where water fasting is common, yet we see that we suffer from various diseases.
Yes, as I said earlier, it is not just fasting which will cure. Fasting is one of the tools which we'll use. You eat wrong, live wrong, and do one day water fast and expect your body to work or not have any diseases? Not possible. You have to do everything. Whatever I'm teaching in this course is all towards that. Every day we learn one thing. Everything together is what makes health. It is not one single standing concept which will make you healthy. It adds, but this alone is not going to make you healthy. That was a wonderful question.
Okay, Neha is asking, can people with insulin resistance and HbA1c 5.4 eat fruits and PCOS as well, be on fruits during fasting?
Janavi, I lost you a couple of seconds. Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so Meha is asking, can people with insulin resistance and HbA1c 5.4 eat fruits and be on fruits during fasting?
Yeah. Well, when you say HbA1c is at 5.4, you're not even diabetic. Why are you so worried? Is the second question. And also, let me tell you, people with diabetes, any amount of HbA1c, any amount of blood sugars can still eat fruits when they're eating and living right. As I go ahead, you will see in my course itself, I will make sure people eat all kinds of fruits, even if they are diabetic, including all those fruits which are banned. mangoes, jackfruit, what else? Grapes, pineapples, custard apples, all of that. Provided, this condition you shouldn't forget, provided you eat right and live right. So you can have fruits, but you need to do all else also. You cannot eat wrong and continue to eat all kinds of fruits also. It will increase your blood sugars. But natural sugars present in the fruit is not going to make you diabetic. That be sure.
Okay, next, Shalini is asking, fasting triggers my gastrics and migraine. So should I do fasting?
Okay, this is another important question. Well, if you have any gastritis, acidity, then please do not attempt to do this kind of fasting. Why? As you rightly said, fasting and migraine, both are connected. The minute you delay your eating, it triggers off the migraine. So they're all connected. Please do not do water fast when you have acidity or gastritis. All I would suggest you to do is be on tender coconut water instead of plain water. Whatever I told you, in the morning, instead of breakfast, you will have tender coconut water. Then fruits for lunch. Evening, another tender coconut water. Night, dinner. Instead of being water in the half day, you will be on tender coconut water. Now, you have not kept your stomach empty and you will not suffer. When you do this for some weeks, along with eating right and living right, you will resolve all your gut issues. You will get a healthy gut, and then you can start this water fasting. But till then, please have patience. It's not about 1 week or 2 weeks. Till you correct your gut issues, continue to be on tender coconut water. I repeat, instead of being on water, tender coconut water at breakfast, fruits for lunch, evening tender coconut water, and simple cooked meal for dinner. If you can be on this, you will help yourself a lot.
Okay, next, Shilpi is asking, can vitiligo be reversed?
Well, it all depends on how long it has been there and how much you have. It is just the absence of cells or the cells which create the pigment which are dying. So it depends on where you stand. But yes, I have seen in my clients where they've arrested the further development. In some of the people, I have even seen some amount of reversal, not complete reversal. But yes, you need to do a lot of things. One thing I would definitely tell you is look at the chemicals which is coming into your life, right from your hair dye, which is the biggest culprit, to the perfumes and your deodorants, the chemicals which are used inside your house for cleaning, everywhere, your soaps and shampoos and everywhere, please give attention to what you're using. Remove all of that and make it herbal first, and then correct your eating and living, and a lot of things can be done.
Okay, next, Meha is asking, can fasting and nature cure help to get rid of fibroids totally? And also, how much time? Because my doctor said fibroids only go after menopause.
Okay. Fibroids is an unnecessary overgrowth, right? So it is giving, which is growing. So what helps growth? Both energy and protein. So you need to remove that. So how to do that? Yes, it is a process, but you can reverse it based on if you can change your eating and living habits. And Janavi, did I hear you right in the earlier question? What did you say? What was the disorder? Vitiligo, or what did you say?
Vitiligo.
Okay, right.
Okay. Bhavna is saying, ma'am, very informative session. I would like to know on vegetarian sources of protein for growing up boys. My elder one goes to gym thrice a week and is insisting on having eggs for protein. Being on the spiritual side, I want to avoid eggs and non-veg. Such a dilemma as I feel pressurized by my own family.
Okay, right. Well, you need to understand a lot more about protein for me to say that. But I can say this much. You don't need non-vegetarian food to increase your protein. All plant proteins are equally good and gives you enough protein, even if you want to build muscles. But there's a lot more to understand, which I cannot explain in 1 minute in this forum. But yes, you don't have to eat non-vegetarian food to get your proteins. That much I can tell you. Can we take a couple of questions and complete?
Yes, Dr. Gauri. So Neha is asking, can naturopath will help in curing multiple myeloma cancer?
Yes, very much yes. Depends on what you've already done. How much of drugs, how much of chemotherapies and radiations you've done. Yes, it all depends on so many other things. But it can help to a large extent to reverse what's happening. And you saw it. I told you when I was explaining the naturopath's experience, he reversed his cancer and lived to 90 years. So how much you're willing to do, how much you can work on is what matters.
Okay, next Princey is asking, I always get dry cough, especially in public place. No symptoms, no doctors are able to help me sometimes. Seems like TB, but it's not. So what should I do?
What was the first bit of the question?
So I always get dry cough, especially in public places.
Okay. Well, it could be when you say public places only, it could be dust also. It looks like some kind of a allergy triggering it off. So you need to see what is the cause and stop the cause. See what happens in the system. Let me just give you a small example. When a dust or say a virus or a bacteria is trying to enter the system, it has an access through the nose. Nose has enough facility to stop it. You know, the hair in the nose or the gummy substance in the nose can all stop it. If it cannot stop it, body creates mucus so that it can throw it out. If that also cannot stop and something is entering the respiratory system, then body triggers off this cough in an attempt to throw it out to help us. So cough is not something we should be fearful of or want to get rid of. It is actually trying to get rid of something which is harming us. So figure out what is that which is trying to harm us and get rid of that, not the cough. Don't pop a pill and stop the cough. Cough is just a symptom. You need to deal with the cause.
Okay, next Vinod is asking, is milk a good diet?
Okay, well, you'll have to wait for that to come because as I said, it is very important to understand. If I had said in this session, fasting is very important, start fasting from tomorrow morning, would you fast? No, right? So I need to speak so much more and I need 2 hours to do that, to say yes or no, how and what. So please allow me to explain when it comes at that stage of the course, and I will not be able to do it at this point. Shall we end with one last question, Janvi?
Okay. So Paramjeet is asking, my son is having tonsils every now and then. Is it advisable to remove it with surgery?
Well, tonsillitis, just like I explained to the lady who asked me about the cough, this is also a place where the virus or bacteria can be stopped from entering into my system and creating more problems. So don't remove the body guard only. It's a very wrong idea, unwise idea to remove the guard who is protecting you. When if it is getting infected, it means to say you are in a place of where it can get affected, or you have kept your body in such a place where anything going around can affect. So clean inside, outside, and then you will not be affected. And also ensure that the child doesn't get anything which is cold in temperature for that matter, to eat and drink.
Okay, let's take just one last question, Dr. Gauri.
Okay.
So Manvi is asking, I'm willing to become a nutritionist. So will this course be helpful in me becoming a nutritionist?
Well, this is a certificate course and you cannot call yourself a nutritionist until you finish a degree and a master's degree. So you cannot call yourself, label yourself, I'm a nutritionist. Okay, legally you're not allowed to do that. But if you can understand much more, and if you're passionate, and if you can learn, and if you can teach others, you can help others in their journey of health. Definitely, lot of nutritionists and lot of people who are in the space of health sector will take up this course, do an internship, learn more, and work this way. You can call yourself a health coach and do the job, but you cannot call yourself a nutritionist.
Okay, Dr. Gauri, just one last question. Okay, so Nilesh is asking, can we cure clinical depression?
Well, when it comes to depression, it's a mental disorder. Yes, if you eat right and live right, a lot of things can happen at the mental level also. That's the first step, actually. Eating wrong and living wrong itself can push you to a low state. So it is very important, but you will definitely need some support from outside also. I don't mean to say you have to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist. A psychologist, a good psychologist would do a good job to help you understand your thoughts. See, here the whole problem is the displaced thoughts. So if somebody can handhold you, just like I do with people with the food, if somebody can handhold you and help you shift your thoughts from negative to positive, then this shift will help you jump out of this negativity all the time. See, the mind is, the nature of the mind is that you could be having thousands of positive things, but if you have one thing which is negative, it goes on and on and on with this thought and make you feel more and more depressed. So learn some tricks and tools where you can jump every time you have a negative thought, you can shift the negative thought from the negative to the positive. Now, for example, if I'm watering the lawn, there will be grass, there will be weeds. But the weeds and grass the water does not know the difference between the weeds and the grass. If you water it, both will grow and both will thrive. So don't put your energy into your negative thought. The more you think about the negative thoughts, the more you put energy into it, it strengthens. Learn to remove your thought from the negative to the positive. So find somebody. If you don't know anybody, please get in touch with Janavi or anybody with the Wellcure team, and I can help you connect with somebody who can do that job for you.
Okay, Dr. Gauri. Okay, so I think Dr. Gauri have to leave now. So if you have any questions regarding the course, I am here to answer it. The Wellcare team is also here to answer it. So whatever questions you have around the course, the dates, timing, and anything, you can start putting them in the chat box.
Okay, let me take leave. Thank you all. Thank you, Janavi and Ashleka and the rest of the team of Wellcure.
Welcome, Dr. Gauri.
Bye.
So Ivy has a question about exam and certificate. So Ivy, there won't be any exam, but you will get a certificate, which is a training certificate once you successfully complete all the sessions. Okay, Paramjeet. So we'll be sharing any recordings. If you miss any session, you can let us know and we will allow you a seat in the same session in the next batch. So there is a lot of things that goes beyond the sessions. We will be adding all of you to a WhatsApp group with Dr. Gauri and all the other participants. Dr. Gauri also give assignment after each session and she will be sharing the session summary in WhatsApp group. So you have a lot of work to do. You will have to do assignments every day. So it's a really jam-packed session throughout. So the timings of the session are from 6 to 8 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday till 17th of February. So Savita, we will reach out to you for other payment method. All the methods are given in the chat box as well. But if you are facing any issues, we will get in touch with you. Or you can also send your query in the WhatsApp group. So Deepa, the fees of the entire course is 14.99. If you wish to enroll now, you can simply scan the QR on the screen. And about days, so there are 9 more sessions. Days will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Timings will be from 6 to 8 p.m. So Kinjal, we will share the WhatsApp number and a contact number in the chat right now. So if you want to connect with any of the team member, you can connect on that number. Ashlekha, can you please put the Sanjana's number in the chat? Please let us know if you have any more questions. Yes, so the next session, which is the second one, is this coming Monday. So Sonal, you have a BSc Nutrition and Dietetics. So yes, we've had MBBS doctors, nutritionists. We've had hundreds of health professionals in this course, and this will definitely help you. Okay, let's wait for 2 more minutes. If you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box, and we will wrap up the session by 8:20. So Prince will be an e-certificate that you can download and get it printed. So Savita, you were saying you have missed the initial part of the session. So can you still continue with the second session? Yes, you can. And once you join the paid group with all the other participants, you can also ask them what were the key takeaways of the session. And Dr. Gauri will also share a summary PDF with all the paid participants. So for the people who are asking whether this course will help them in their health professional journey, so this course is based on 100 plus research papers from leading research institutes and universities and Nobel laureates. So yes, this course will definitely help you. Yes, Deepa. So after 20% off, the fees is 14,999. Yes. Yes, Princey, you can join by Sunday. So we will share the recording of this session in all the WhatsApp groups for a limited period of time. So in case you missed some part of the session or you joined late, you can revisit the session later. Okay, I think we are good to wrap up then. So I leave the QR screen on for the next few minutes. If you wish to enroll in the course, you can simply scan the QR and get enrolled. If you have any queries, you can put them in the WhatsApp groups. And yes, thank you everyone, and we will see you in the course.